So this is a quick intermission video. We're going to talk a little bit more about stats here. Go ahead and hit this letter C on your keyboard to bring up your character stats. Deathless, which is nice, means I've not died yet. My experience strength is, you can actually hover each of those. I'm not going to do it, but it's really important to keep these balanced. Attunement and vitality will become more and more important as we go along here. Right now, it's not in low level, and it gives us some health is important, but strength is our #1 for damage in early on, but eventually vitality will become our most important stat, and we'll be looking for equipment with vitality. Health is how much damage, mana is how much we can cast. We want to keep that balanced. We're focusing on health, but if we run out of mana, we die. Regeneration is really good for both health and mana. You want to make sure you keep those balanced. I find movement speed to be something that I focus on because I want to keep going on to the next section. It also helps you run out of damaging casts from monsters. Resistances. So we want to try and get towards 75 in all of these. You're not going to get it early on, but I find that these 3 up front, these 4 up front are the ones that I focus on the most right up front. And part of that is because most monsters do these types of damages, and cold will freeze you. Lightning has long-term damage to you. Poison is also something that you run into frequently, but I don't find I die so much. I find that I die from fire, lightning, cold, and physical is almost always what I die from early on. So I try and pour points into that early, and then I'll put more later on as I go up. This is your ability to reduce damage is as mitigating 15%. So you want to bump that number up as you can. Dodge, I think, is also important. It's basically, if you don't get hit, you don't have to worry about taking damage. So try and keep that up, those up balanced. Increased melee attack speed. This is a bummer. This is a -8. We want that to be a faster number, but part of that's slower because we have a 2-handed weapon, which is slower than smaller things. Crit strike trance is important because, as we mentioned, we do additional damage for that. Spells also. This is for weapons. This is for spells. We want to basically keep those high if we can. We don't care about bows. It doesn't work for us. Critical strike multiplier. So basically, when we hit something, we do 200% damage. So 7 becomes 14. So we want to bump the crit strike up because it basically is a scalar for how much damage we do. So let's say this is 50%. That means all of a sudden we're doing 150% of our normal damage. Increased physical damage, we like that. Increased lightning damage is fine, but we like those. Defense. So it basically slows down damage we take. Health gained on melee hit, we want to bump these numbers up. Or on hit is spells and things, but melee hit is weapons. Early on, that's important. Later on, we're going to want to get this up here. And we don't have a minion, so we don't care about these stats. Other our bleed damage. If something bleeds, this is how much damage they're going to bleed over 4 seconds. So obviously that's a good number. Here's poison. We have a 60% chance of igniting, and we'll do 37 damage. Remember, we talked about that earlier. How much potion, how much we heal for each potion slot. That's going to become important later on when we have much higher volumes. We take more incoming damage. So that's just a quick stats button. I'd also say look at these here. Endurance basically is a mitigating factor. So is ward. They slow down the amount of damage you take. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and stop that one there and continue on at the next levels going